Good afternoon. We are in the session 8 entitled Fire Management, Protection and Safety. I would like to remind you the rules of this session. The two speakers will present their results. At the end of the session, we have the questions to the two speakers. First of all, I would like to make a small introduction. The market imposes new demands for quality and safety. Today, fire protection forms an integral part of a modern strategy for survival and competitiveness. Let's say a fire protection management system is a tool that facilitates the work to make fire protection a part of your company's management system. On the other side, due to the lack of common guidelines across European countries, it's needed fire protection activities in order to achieve similar interpretations in European countries and to give examples of acceptable solutions, concepts, and models. The aim of a fire protection management system is to secure the company's activities without business interruptions. In other words, it is important for the survival of the company. Demands for quality and safety are continuously becoming more important. Being responsive to customer concerns is an essential factor for success. Good relations are just as important as products and services. Business between companies is also characterized by increasing demands for quality. The open European market makes it essential to formulate systems to secure competence, precision of delivery, environmental considerations, and ethics. Many companies and organizations have established a systematic way of working with fire protection, such as setup, goals, pinpointing risks, organize, train, check, document, and follow up their activities. A common guideline across the European countries is a tool that facilitates the work to make fire protection a part of each company's management system. I will proceed with the first speaker. I would like to give an introduction about the Dr. Ioannis Kondoulis, who is a president of the Hellenic Institute for the Fire Protection of Structures, ELIPICA, and general manager of Knauf Insulation in Greece, Cyprus, and Malta. Experience in material technology and the insulation product sector, he has worked in industrial minerals as well as in specialized products and ceramics in the industry and at Imperial College London, where he also completed his PhD. He has served as president of the Greek Ceramic Society. He is member of the board of directors of the Hellenic Association of Insulation Companies and founding member of the Sustainability Building Council Greece, SBC Greece. He represents ELIPICA in the Confederation of Fire Protection Associated Europe, the well-known as CFPA. The Dr. Kondoulis will present his work entitled The Resilience Triangle, Fire Protection of Buildings in the Woodland-Urban Interface. Dr. Kondoulis, the floor is yours.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. Halaris, for the introduction. Indeed, I'm very glad to be in the fourth Safety Gala. And one of the important things we have to see is the protection of buildings in the wildland-urban interface. We have spoken about fire in the near the inhabited areas in the previous ELIPICA conference, and we'll speak again in the upcoming conference in May 2021, May in Thessaloniki. And here is a presentation that is based on work that was presented in October in the ELIPICA meeting for fires near the built environment. And the best thing we have to start with is to copy the practices we know best. Now, what do we know best? Even though we have lived in this environment for much longer than that environment, the environment of tall buildings is better studied and better controlled than the wildland-urban interface. And there are many practices that we can copy from the tall buildings and apply to the areas near the forests. If that sounds to you a little bit too much, let me say it this way. Just assume this building is sitting on its side, and then we apply whatever we know about the building that is sitting on the sides on the area next to it, which is the forest. So let's see. Last year, I was present in an excellent presentation from Birgitte Messerschmidt of the National Fire Protection Association. This was a presentation to Fire Safe Europe. And the analogy, she made the analogy with the tall buildings. She said, okay, in tall buildings, high-rise buildings, we have evacuation routes. And therefore, in the wildland-urban interface, we have to allow access. I need not remind to the Greek audience about the fire in Mati that there was no access for people to live, or actually cars were sent in the dangerous area. The second thing that we are doing in high-rise buildings is even in smaller sizes actually, is compartmentation. In exactly the same way, in wildland-urban interface, we have to assess areas by fire risk and make sure that these areas are kept separate if possible. Furthermore, the most important conclusion from the fire in high-rise buildings like Grenfell was that there has to be requirements for construction products. Well, obviously, if we are in a dangerous environment, which means if we are very close to nature, and we have a lot of burning capacity, again, we have to review our requirements for construction products and proposing fire class, European fire class of A1 or A2. However, the question is, how do we define the wildland-urban interface? Well, there is quite a lot of work that has been done about it. To give you just an example, from the first conference of LPK in February 2020, we had a presentation from Dr. Konstantinos Belivanis of Jensen Hughes from the United States, where he had models using historical data, an action plan with fire risk assessment and compartmentation. I only copied one photograph, and you see the areas here of higher danger. So what you can do is you can have detailed fire risk maps. Similarly, in the presentation, in the webinar of LPK, with the support of Confederation of Fire Protection Associations Europe on the 21st of October 2022, I see to my two here, we were about it. Dr. Guido Zaccarelli presented a model for the forest urban interface in Mercogliano, Avellino, and you see again the areas that have most danger or have been historically affected. So the conclusion is that there is a way to do it. And what we need is to consider what the state has done already. We have already mapped seismic activity risk in Greek χάρτης σεισμικής επικινδυνότητας, which is part of the Greek anti-seismic regulation. Therefore, in this way, we can provide structural resilience, and we can have buildings in Kefalonia built in a way that is much more resilient than buildings in Athens, which is in less danger than Kefalonia from earthquakes. Similarly, for our energy efficiency regulation, KENAC takes into account the climate zones, and it says that if you are in a cold place, you have to increase your insulation level and how well are your windows functioning, and therefore we can have energy resilience. So what do we need? In order to increase and take care of our fire resilience, whether that is to save people or to protect property, we need to be able to have a fire risk map for the wildland-urban interface, and therefore amend the fire protection regulation. And obviously, in places where there's high danger, you have to specify that roofs and walls are built with A1, A2 products. So this is the resilience triangle. Is not an entirely novel idea. Mr. Halleris, when he said about my work, I felt as if any of this is my work. Actually, I'm only putting things together and also giving you the experience also from other countries like Croatia, where I think they are already developing this logic of maybe not only triangle, but also adding the sustainability factor as well. So what do we need to do to define fire risk? First, there is historical fire data. They are very well available in Greece. Is not only the fire service that they have, we also have a whole organization in the ministry that we have very good historical data. Since vegetation starts up again, these historical data are quite useful. Furthermore, there is vegetation risk. So no matter what the historical data are, you know very well that if you are in Mykonos, the overall vegetation cannot give you a huge fire, at least a huge capacity fire. While if you are in a mountainous area, you have a lot of plants, but again, you can differentiate what sort of vegetation you have. Do you have vegetation which is fast burning, or do you have vegetation which is slower burning? So again, this can help to define fire risk. Furthermore, there is wind behavior. Wind behavior in the general area where we are, and wind behavior on the local level. So what we can is, using these data, we can create a quite detailed fire risk map, which we have to use for planning either for passive or for active fire protection. Now, there is one thing that we have to take into account, and that is renovation. We will see that in the next slide as well, because we have to see what we can do to prevent, or if the fire starts, to delay it and protect people, but also buildings, for the resilience of buildings. The Greek Fire Protection Regulation, the Presidential Decree 40 of 2018, has an important table, table 15, that we will see in the next slide, and we need to make sure that it's adjusted for forest fires. I'll come back to this slide. Let's go now to table 15. the main criterion here is the distance from the from another building or from the limit of the plot where we have built. If it's 3 meters, it's stringent, the most stringent requirements, 3 to 5 meters, a bit more relaxed, 5 to 10, and higher than 10 meters. Now, and also there's a special line for buildings for health issue, which have schools or hospitals, or anyway, buildings higher theoretical population, more than 1,000 people. Now, the question that I'm posing to you is this. You have the regulation, and you have buildings that are more than 10 meters from the limit of the plot where you build it in. And you are in a place which is full of pine trees. The regulation, this regulation, allows you to use a fully flammable, easily flammable building. Are you going to do it for your for your house? I guess not. But it is not up to the individual to control it. We have an organized state, and we have to add what do we do, how the limits change when there is proximity to vegetation or where we are in a high fire risk area. Well, the easiest thing to say is that you go to these two areas without even changing table 15. Let's go back. We also have to allow for increased minimum requirements for windows. The windows have to withstand at least 30 minutes. So, furthermore, the roofs and the walls have to be more resistant to fire using either A2 or A1 products. And furthermore, what is very important is to control the openings. I will show you in a couple of slides a very spectacular, in my opinion, example. But what we have to take into account, I have already mentioned to you renovation and existing buildings. What do we do with existing buildings? Because all regulations say that whatever was built or was made with the previous laws stands well. Well, you know that it doesn't. And most important, whether if you renovate, it should have been unimaginable to subsidize a building to be renovated, and as a result to have something like they had in England with the Grenfell Towers and another significant number of social housing which were renovated in the same way. So before the renovation, there was, and let's go back here, the energy resilience was not very good. So we renovated, we make the building better in terms of energy efficiency, and then it was burned. That's not the way to do it. And it's not, we cannot hope that it will be done while we need to legislate. So let me give you another example. That was from a few days ago. I saw this presentation, fire safety in timber buildings, which for me is amazing because as a Greek, I'm not accustomed to timber buildings. And it was a presentation from Red Fire Engineers of the Bradford, Sweden, Association for Fire in Sweden. And they showed us that if the buildings, even if wood is material which is burning, if the building is designed properly, it has higher resilience. Now, this element here was placed to control, I believe it was for smoke, but overall the effect after the simulation was that it affects significantly fire behavior. Here you can see the floor. I don't know whether it's easy to realize that we can see, I believe this is a shoe. And between the floors, you can see a small gap. Now, obviously, it's an opening that fire can go through very fast. So even if a building is built in wood, there are ways to make it more resilient. What I would really hate to see is what we saw in Evia last August. I clearly remember watching on TV one firefighter and one the owner of the building trying to cool down his roof, but eventually losing the battle because there was not good control of the openings. So we need to be able to save lives, but also increase the resilience of properties. Yes, in a huge fire, there is limited things you can do, but still you can make the buildings more resilient. We will speak, as you see here, the wire-airborne interface fires and building resilience will be a whole session in the second conference of fire protection in Thessaloniki, fire protection of structures, which is organized by Lipika on 21 of May. I strongly suggest that you come, either physical presence or digital, because we will have an assessment of the 2018 regulations. We will speak about hotel short-term accommodation. It was another webinar that we did last year for the short-term accommodation. But most importantly, we'll talk about the LPK educational programs we have already started, and an education program which will be finished in a few days. Actually, the teaching part has been finished already, and the exams now we are waiting for the papers to be submitted. There will be presentations about fire testing and certification standards, and also we will mention the fire protection rating of buildings. So, putting what we discussed together, the resilience triangle, we need to plan not only for structural resilience. This has been well done from the Greek anti-seismic regulation. We need to complement the energy resilience so that when we improve the buildings from the point of view of energy, using the climate zones described in the energy efficiency regulation, we do not make them worse. But most important, to make a state plan for the fire resilience building by building. We need a fire risk map of Greece. There is plenty of information in order to make it. We need to specify how do we build our roofs, our walls, our openings, so that when we are in a danger zone, we do not use flammable products. We have to update the fire protection regulation, and we call on the state to do it. We have done it several times. We call it again and again. We have the hope that the state has heard us, as I have recently heard from a presentation of Mr. Papaioannou, professor from Thessaloniki, who said that the state is proceeding to something like that. And something which is very important, we also have to take into account existing buildings. We have to make sure that we take all possible measures for existing buildings, and most important, when we renovate them, that we make them better from all points of view, better structurally, better from energy consumption, and better from fire resilience. Because if we make the first two and we forget the third one, then we did nothing. It's a building which is not resilient, which is not fire resilient. It will be good, but it will still be a bomb in our hands. So this is it. Thank you very much. I hope I have covered some things you wanted to hear. I will be open to question about the after the presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Halaris.
I would like to thank Dr. Kodoulis for his inspiring lecture. I would like to proceed with the next speaker. Let me to introduce him. Dr. Liapis, Angelos Liapis, is currently the CEO of Metal Technologies Ltd. And manager of the EU Research Innovation Development at the Decision Support System Laboratory of the National Technical University of Athens. He has worked as an R&D director, senior R&D management, active research, and an IST specialist with experience in implementing and managing European funded programs such as Horizon 2020, FP7, FP6, and so on. His areas of interest and expertise include innovation management, big data, semantics, Web 2.0, e-government, e-health, crisis management, cloud computing, and enterprise interoperability. Beyond his academic and industrial duties, Dr. Liapis has authored several papers, journals, and books in the areas of collaborative design, semantics, and so on. In all of the areas of his interest, he has a lot of publics. Dr. Liapis will present the Concord and emergency management system to supercharge your disaster preparedness. Dr. Liapis, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Halaris. Thanks a lot. Thanks again for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you. So let me share my screen. Right. So I think you should all be able to see the presentation right now. So we are going to talk about Concord, which is basically a prototype emergency management system that allows you to sort of reinforce and or supercharge your disaster preparedness. So let's first talk about the challenge. So Concord sets to address three main challenges. One is to improve preparedness and interoperability of medical services from local to international level. Second is to optimize coordination of variable participants, basically first responders and victims.
Sorry, Angelos, yeah. We don't do a share screen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry about that. How about now?
Yes. Do it full screen. Okay.
So, and the third one is to enable monitoring, evaluation, and improvement of response. And basically, the system allows us to use the results for also training. Let's talk a bit about the need that's triggered a platform such as Concord. So we have major information gap during a crisis operation. The public safety access point information and fleet management systems, they're not connected. We don't have connection amongst the hospital information systems and the emergency management systems. And also we have limited connectivity between the telemedicine systems and the emergency management systems. Also, we have operational information exchange issues. We don't know which responders organizations are involved in the incident. We don't know who is where and what is doing. We have limited information of the limited core information as it comes in and who was informed about what and when. And we have limited information regarding the position of the patients. I mean, and where is their status in sort of real time. So this information gap results in impaired and delayed coordination, avoidable shortcomings of response, and insufficient evidence for accurate after-action evaluation. I mean, how can we improve our existing infrastructure if we don't learn from our past mistakes? Now, Concord might be the solution to the problem. So Concord, by nature, is a web-based platform that supports and enhances the existing coordination and decision processes during small or large-scale medical emergencies at local, regional, and cross-border levels. The platform features the following services: the incident information visibility in real time, participant visibility in real time, patient visibility, quarantine monitoring in situations such as COVID, etc., resource information visibility in real time, AI-supported AI/semantically driven decision support system. Basically, their Concord features a series of decision support systems based on the nature of the crisis, the disaster. So we have one DSS for fire management, another DSS for earthquake, another DSS for explosion, etc., etc. So if you have more than one crisis occurring at an incident, the relevant DSS will be applied automatically by the system. As the first responders take the situation into their hands and they take it under their control, and perhaps you don't need one. I mean, if the fire is no longer a problem, then the system will automatically remove the fire DSS, providing the end user with targeted information on the crisis that still occurs. Other than that, we have an event recording and replay for evaluation and training, hospital management, volunteer management, relief goods management, social media monitoring and sentiment analysis. Really important, as we all know, in cases of emergency, we are all getting most of our sort of data from social media. So it's very important to be able to distill the information into the sort of actual information and sort of fake news. The platform provides user access rights mechanisms and face recognition. Now, on to the key innovations of Concord. Basically, Concord creates the central place where emergency medical services get in touch to exchange data. By nature, Concord is a sort of umbrella that sits on top of the sort of dispatching centers and existing EMS that the first responders have, and allows them a way to efficiently coordinate and interoperate at whatever level the end users choose to. So it's not like it gives them, it forces them to a certain protocol. They can share the information that they need to share and nothing else. And now the second innovation is that actors from different emergency management systems are able to exchange critical information. So that includes the public safety access points, hospitals, and EMS ground operations. And the third key innovation is that it's a goal-oriented information exchange system. Improves patient safety, optimizes the resource allocation, and basically provides the right patient at the right time to the right place. And we'll discuss about that in the next slides. And also features a smart patient monitoring mechanisms. So you know the sort of situation of the patient and where the patient is at any time during the incident. So these are the features of Concord, of the latest version of Concord. We have the incident management module, where it consists from the from the incident information tool, the team management tool, hospital management tool. We have the map module. That's a module that is compatible with Google Maps and Open Maps. Also, we can the platform is compatible with ESRI's ArcGIS system. So we have the resource management module that consists of the volunteer management module and the relief goods management module. We have the social media module consisting of the digital marketing, sentiment analysis, and monitoring for fake news. Privacy and security featuring user access roles, face recognition, and the very latest security and privacy mechanisms. We have a triage mobile app. Actually, there are two. Because the system basically features two triages. And we have also the patient management module with appropriate notification tools, rescue and field application, patient tracking and monitoring tools, semantic DSS. We've talked about that earlier. External services, connectivity with external services, PSAPs, hospitals, weather and social media, event log and replay tool, user registration, and bystander module. Now, these are some snapshots of the platform, where you can see the incident information visibility, well, in real time. Obviously, there is, if you go to our website, there are 3 videos. One is the promotional video, and you will be able to see the platform piloted in an abandoned military camp with limited connectivity from the Greek army, fire department, and Hellenic rescue team, and well, some ambulances from the Greek healthcare services. They are performing a scenario, and the platform is being tested. Now, these are some snapshots demonstrating the participant visibility in real time. The patient visibility, again, this is about the triage application, where you can see on the top left, you can see the mobile version, and then underneath you can see the tablet version, which is the second triage, which basically provides more information to the sort of medical personnel. And also on the right hand side, you can see the characterization that is being displayed in the main database of the system that the hospitals also have access to. Now here you can see the resource information visibility again in real time, so you can see who is where, if the units are on the way, what is the current status. And this is the event recording and replay for evaluation and training purposes, which basically it functions as a black box where it allows to sort of run again the sort of moves that the higher management, the higher command undertook in order to mitigate the situation, and you know, basically learn from our own mistakes and use it for our own training. So Concord serves as a platform for serves the following industries: the health emergency management industry, incident and emergency management, industrial crisis and disaster management, and the broader area of search and rescue operations. These are some of the references of the platforms. All these organizations have tested the platform. And if we have some time, I would like to finish the presentation. Actually, I would like to mention this as well, and then perhaps give you a demo, present the video, basically the promotional video of the platform. Concord in its second version and as a platform has attracted more than 20 million euros of research funding from the European Commission. So you can understand the know-how and the current state of the art that this platform features. And at the moment, we are basically in a very high TRL, and we are currently we are selling version 2 of the platform, and we are working towards version 3 of the platform that well, the aim is to bundle it also with a prototype uniform as well that connects directly with the EMS and allows the user to interact directly with the EMS. Now, I wonder if you can you see the video?
Yes.
Excellent. And I think that's all from me. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Angelos, for your presentation. I would like to inform you, due to a sick medical treatment, the participation of Dr. Wagner is not possible. We apologize for this inconvenience. Let me to make a summary of the first two speakers. As I remember well, according to the presentation of Dr. Koudoulis, said that there is international and national experience which can assist in evaluating the danger of forest fires based in models which take into account vegetation, history of fires, climate, and wind. Based on such model, it is possible to issue instruction for the construction as well for active measures in the building, which will allow for a safety environment. In that I write out. especially for the presentation of Dr. Liapis. He said that Concord is a highly interoperability modular open architecture platform for first responders, capitalizing on expertise and technological infrastructure to improve preparedness and interoperability amongst first responders and medical services at all the levels, local, regional, or cross-border level. And this platform is to face all the natural and man-made disasters. I would like to call the audience to do questions. Already we have a first question for Dr. Kondoulis. The question is, how do you think the fire risk maps which presented in your speech could affect the active fire protection for residential or industrial areas with proximity to forests? Dr. Kondoulis, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Lialios. That I believe that they could and should affect the active fire protection measures. However, whether they will affect areas where there are really high protection areas, like the refineries where Mr. Lialios is his field of work, I honestly hope not, because whatever a general fire risk for the general population will do in an industrial, in the context of a highly guarded installation against fire, I hope that it will be there will be minimum or no effect in an industrial area which has been carefully planned for fire risk. Now, for the residential area, yes, I hope that such risk maps will allow the authorities for better planning. Planning both for evacuation, also for passive, but also for active fire protection measures. Thank you, Mr. Kalaris.
Yeah, I would like to add, not to add, just to say that we have the same view about the fire risk maps. How can we help in the active fire protection with Mr. Kondoulis? Do we have other questions to the two speakers?
For your information, sorry, before anyone places the question, I placed a link for the Elipica conference in the chat so that anybody who would want, they can find it. I hope you have seen it. I placed it just after I finished.
Okay. I think take the opportunity from the absence of the third speaker. I would like to inform the audience for a new training program, a new MSH, which this MSH is related with the audience and the subject of our conference. I would like to introduce a new MSH program in quality, safety, security, health, and environmental management from the Department of Chemistry of International Hellenic University. Is a new MSH program. If you see the government gazette is from 14th of March. And let me to give you some very introductory
Michael, may I say, you can smell the ink.
Exactly.
Beginning of March, it's no more than 2 weeks.
Yes, and that is the reason I am not prepared to give a lot of informations, but just to inform you for this new MSH program, a few words about International Hellenic University. We have in our university 7 schools. This is belong to the School of Science. The numbers in our academic staff is, let's say, 650 academic staff, 350 administrative staff, 2,025 technical staff, and about 30,000 students. Sorry. Already existed 39 MSc programs and 15 PhD programs. We have 117 bachelor programs. And the reason which is to present you the new master, the Master in Quality, Safety, Security, Health and Environmental Management. In this master, I am the Deputy Master Director. This program, as I said, is offered by the Department of Chemistry in International Hellenic University, emphasizing the critical thinking and ethical decision making, train students to management of health and safety, security issues, and to quality and environmental management issues, especially to assess emergency situation and provide management and recovery support to public and private disaster management agencies. We have a lot of topics are taught in this master. We have, sorry, just I would like to translate from the government gazette some issues. Is 3 semesters. The 2 first semesters is we teach the topics, 6 lessons in each semester, and the third semester has the thesis of the master. We have a lot of opportunities. The students who will finish this master, we can work in private, especially, or in public agencies, due to the fact that this master program graduates to fill top-level directorial or managerial positions. This position requires professionals to handle all types of health, safety, security, quality, environmental management issues. If you see some example job titles, especially the red one, you have shown a lot of new position which looking for health, safety, security, quality, environmental management, especially in private sector. Or health, safety, quality, health, safety, environment, or health, safety, quality, environment. We cover all these positions. It is of our understanding that this program, MSH program, as it will operate, is unique in Greece and therefore an interesting case study. We tend to pursue its realization by opting to use blending learning techniques. We made the new law for the MSH programs. I would like to inform you that we will have 3 classes, one in Athens, one in Thessaloniki, and one in Kavala, to cover all the territory of Greece. And if we succeed the first year, we will continue to this master to be an international master. I would like to thank you for this small introduction. And if you have questions about this project, which is very related to the scope of this conference. if we don't have other questions or comments, we can proceed to a short break. I would like to thank one more time to two speakers, Dr. Kondoulis and Dr. Angelos Liapis. I think their contribution is very important to this conference, to this safety gala. And I believe the next year to 15 gala, each of this speaker will have to present the Concord version 3.0, and Mr. Kondoulis, the result of the next conference, the conference of the May. If you have some comment.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hallaris, for the invitation as well. It's been a pleasure, and by all means.
Of course, and we will hopefully have also some information, because you clearly said about international experience, but as far as I know, there's no the international legislation is not very there's not very much of it. But since we are a country which has been hit by fires very many times in every summer, it will be an important thing whether if our state decides to proceed and legislate, making our lives and our homes safer. Looking forward to see you in our conference in May. Thank you very much, Mr. Hallaris and Mr. Liapis.
Thank you very much.
I would like to thank and the audience who participate in this session, and we will proceed in the break session.